Groom Podcast.
Welcome to the Groom Podcast. I'm your host Jordan, joined by my good friend here,
Mr. Jared Tolbert.
and this is episode number 2. And today we're talking about the gates of hell and the 7 gates of hell. And this is more of a local legend because we told you last episode, we're dealing with Area 51 and everything, and that's kind of far out the way because we're here in good old Fayette County, Pennsylvania. And we wanted to explore something a little more local, a little more close to the heart.
Yeah.
Get in the punchline there.
Down in the roots.
Yeah. And so we decided to do some investigation regarding the gates of hell and regarding the spookiness and evilness of the land, So unfortunately, we found out that the 7 gates of hell legend is in York, Pennsylvania, which is kind of out of the way. It's like 2 hours away or something like that.
Yeah.
And Hallam County, or Hallam Township, my bad. I think it's in York, general York, Pennsylvania area. And that's a little further out east. But what we did find here, though, in Fayette County is that in Fairchance, there is a legend about a man who burnt down his house and killed his children and whatnot. And the interesting thing is I found, I'm sure you found this too, Jared, is that with this legend, they all sound similar. The York County one, the Hallam Township one, and then the local one too. The stories are similar, right?
Yeah, the stories are fairly similar. I mean, there's a lot of I know with the York County one, there's like 2 or 3 theories that go around. There's one about an insane asylum or some kind of institution. There's one about just a crazy doctor. They called him a eccentric doctor that had put the gates up and stuff. And then, I believe there is a story about that too. But the weird thing is we were talking about this before that, like, all these sites and all these forums that have that same story about a man killed his wife, killed his children, killed himself. There's even people in the forum under the comments that are like, well, who is this? Who was this? Because all it says is amen, 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 amen. Amen. It's like, it's like I don't know. It's really weird because it's just such a repeating thing of amen.
Un hombre,
I mean that's all we could say is that is there was a man.
Yeah.
So
there's no definitive, this is the person who did it, this was his family, So it's unfortunate, especially if it is a true story, It's quite tragic in that sense then that nobody can remember the family.
Absolutely.
Or if there were descendants, which I'd assume probably not. If there would be, I'd assume cousins or sisters or brothers, not children because the children were killed. Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
But no real historical information on that. You think there would be, because I'm sure there is about York County, but more or less on the legend of the individual killer, guy who went insane or whatever.
Yeah. It's just the thing is though, is like with how much info we have just in general history, like I'd assume this would have been back in probably the early 1900s.
Yeah, or late 1800s.
Yeah. And I feel like though it could be just a urban legend or a myth because I feel like any general person would have, you could go back in local newspapers and, a lot of stories that were way before even the early 1900s.
Yeah.
And there's pretty accurate information. So part of me feels like it could just be a scary myth. But because I know York County, the county itself, they published a couple articles kind of debunking the whole story about it, about their gates of hell.
Yeah.
So, but regarding to the Tent Church Road, I don't know, because like I said, I feel like with how can I put it, of how well proven history is.
Yeah.
Because we got history that goes
documents
way back, way before the 1900s, the 1700s, 1600s. So part of me feels like it could be false, but at the same time, though, I guess you never know.
Yeah.
But you would think that somebody would know.
Yeah.
Around the area.
Yeah, and there's local legends, and allegedly too, according to some people I know, they said that in Masontown, Pennsylvania, there's a library and it has books regarding to local legends, and we might in the next episode go out there to the library and check out that because we kind of want to dive more into local legends, things we can go to and go see and try to prove or disprove in our opinion, but yeah, like general historical records and whatnot. Trying to see if something is real or if it isn't, vice versa. And the interesting thing I found that piqued my interest the most, I think I found it today, is that with the whole Gates of Hell thing in York and whatever, in New York there was an insane asylum for people, and I guess it burnt down or something happened to it, and I guess everybody died pretty much because it was out of the way. It was out in the wilderness, what I mean, out in the country. And the firemen couldn't get there for like 20 so odd minutes, you know what I mean? And so everybody died, and the ones who did escape were mentally insane, and they got, I guess, chewed up or mutilated by wolves or animals.
I had seen that, yeah, and I'd also seen another thing about the search parties that were after them.
Yeah.
They basically just beat them to death after that. Like, when they found them.
Really?
At least, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's probably some escapees that were able to just go and do whatever they wanted. But they, at least in some of the articles I'd read, they had said that the search parties, so that was one of the theories about the gates. They said that there was one theory that after the fire happened for the institution, because the fire is kind of a local, like it's kind of a
legend.
Yeah,
local legend.
Yeah, a local legend as well. Because there's different theories around that. But yeah, so after the fire, though, the search parties were believed to have built the gates.
Okay.
So that way, if there were any inmates around the area, they couldn't get out because it was gated off by 7 gates. So
if you're not familiar with the 7 gates, anybody out there, any of the viewers, basically the story goes that each gate is like a step closer to hell, and that each one essentially leads you further and further to insanity, essentially, from what I understand, right? Is so you get crazier and crazier, pretty much.
Yeah, that was the big theory around that, because like I said, the one theory about the fire and the search party was that they built a total of 7 gates, and I'd seen some articles too that supposedly you could only see one gate during the day, but at night you could see the other 6.
Okay. Yeah, and I also heard too that I think only people have made it to the 5th gate.
Yeah, I'd seen that too. That like people have gone missing.
Yeah,
and they said basically if you hit all 7 gates, you go straight to hell.
Yeah.
Like,
better watch out, Yeah, all the goblins out there.
Possibly
the night ghouls, the Mothman.
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
A little bit of everything out there, maybe.
Yeah, you never
know. Down in the depths of
crackheads. And
that might be even worse than all those combined. It's a joke, but
pretty far out. You know what I mean? So I'll put a video right about here. We took a little ride out to 10 Church Road in Fairchance, Pennsylvania. Hey guys, Jordan here. You're probably watching this in the middle of the podcast. I'm out here with Jared.
What's up?
And we're out here on 10 Church Road. We're trying to find the alleged gates of hell out here. Now, we're not from York, Pennsylvania, so we can't really go out to the 7 gates of hell, but we have an alleged local myth here about the gates of hell out here. So we're trying to see if we could find that. It's very quiet through here. Looking for, I think, the blue gate. We're trying to look for it, but we can't really find it. I mean, for granted, the website we found it on, the picture anyway, it's a blue gate, and this was like 15 years ago in like 2007. So chances are it could be demolished by now, or it could be on private property and not on this main road here. So I'm really not too sure. I will say it is kind of nice out here for being a place with the supposed gates of hell.
It is.
It's kind of a nice little country area. We came to a dead-end road, and we're going to have to make a U-turn now. So, what do you think, Jared?
I don't know, man. I mean, if that article was posted in 2007, I'm going to say it's torn down by now. Sadly.
Yeah. I'm not really too sure on it.
I thought we'd find more, but maybe not.
To try to find the gates of hell, our local gates of hell. And the interesting thing was, there's lots of nice houses around that area.
Yeah.
There's even been reports of car accidents and mysterious orbs you see at night, and sounds of dogs moaning and howling in pain. But we couldn't find it. Now, I don't know if there's another tent church road. I couldn't find one on Google Maps or anything like that. I looked up some information. There's a website. I'll put it in the description if you guys want to go check it out, all the viewers, to the website that we found. The report that I found is from, I think, 2006 or 2007. And that's, 15, 16, 17 years ago now. Yeah. So, I mean, chances are people could have built a property or bought the property and took down the gate. And, I mean, maybe it was all a hoax all along. Maybe it wasn't. Or if it is, now somebody is living with the consequences of that because they own the property, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But we
carry over.
Yeah, we couldn't find any gates though, so that was kind of disappointing. I was hoping to go out there and see it and kind of be spooked,
Yeah, that's a tough thing though, because really I found basically the same ones you did. There was only like 2 articles on it.
Yeah.
And I read some of the threads of comments and stuff about other people talking about it, but it was mostly the same thing. Just like there were people that even said that they had explored the foundation and stuff, but they say that it's like certain nights. Okay. Supposedly, because there were some people that were like, "Oh yeah, we went out on this night at exactly 12 a.m. and we walked all around and we didn't find anything." So it's but that could be just another legend though on certain nights. Yeah,
and the thing is too, it's like if it is private property, from what I heard, it was private property. Yeah, I don't want to trespass.
See, and and that was the big thing that I read on York County 7 gates of hell was. I mean, nobody knows if there are actually 7 gates. Like there could just be one gate because a lot of people that I'd seen, and again, this is just articles of threads that that I read comments on and stuff. They're like, yeah, we made a big trip out there. We were pretty excited, but when we got there, it's so boarded off with no trespassing signs. Violators may be prosecuted, arrested, and it's like you can't. It's impossible to even get past the first gate. Like, yeah, you could see one gate. Yeah, but you can't say do for anything. Certain. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you like? What's your personal opinion regarding it?
Well, like I was saying before, with like multiple theories that have gone on about that, the town. Well, I guess you could say York County or is it Hallam?
I think Hallam.
Yeah.
Hallam, maybe?
Hallam, okay. Yeah. So I guess like back then they did kind of like debunk it. Mm-hmm. The closest they got to the origin of the gates was I'm trying to think of it now because I had some notes on my phone. Yeah. But right now we're using my phone to
shout out to Jared's cell phone, iPhone.
Had to make the sacrifice for it, but I'm just trying to like think of some stuff from the top of my head that I remember. I do know that there was a doctor that lived on that road. I forgot his name, but he worked at West Side Sanitarium, and I guess one of the roads, because there's like 3 different roads.
That's probably
at the intersection.
That's probably the asylum,
and it's called Toad Road was the name. There's Toad Road, Trout Road, and then Range Road. Like all 3 of them kind of intersect to the gates of hell. Yeah. And I guess this doctor would put out, like, he would make like threatening signs, of like signs of gargoyles, but they had like toad like features because it was the name of the road. Yeah. And I guess that's how the whole like origin about that had come up. Yeah. But I guess though one of the roads was wiped off of the map. I think it was Toad Road. It was wiped off of the map by I think it was by a hurricane back then. Oh, okay. Like a hurricane went through and wiped the road off of the map. It was in 1972. They in Pennsylvania. Said, yeah,
a hurricane.
It was a Hurricane Agnes, I believe it was called.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they said that it wiped the road off of the map, that's not even a road anymore. But I think the main 2, though, that are still up is, like I said, Trout Road, I think it's called. I'll have to look at my notes again. But it's Trout Road and then Range Road. They kind of all, like, intersect in between. The gates kind of, like, run between those roads. Yeah. But regarding to the institution fire, I guess it was kind of debunked. It might be just another, somebody trying to tear it down. It might be true.
Yeah.
But there was a person that had said that the remains that are still there, supposedly of the institution, are actually from an old mill. It's called the Flint Mill.
Okay.
So they, that was a sense of them saying like, okay, this was not actually an institution. This was just the Flint Mill, so you don't have to, think about that.
Yeah.
So I don't really know because
thing-
nobody's really gone back that far other than the people that own it. But I couldn't find any information on the people that own it.
Yeah.
Because whoever owns it, they got it all. Like I said, you can't do anything. If you go there, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I'd assume whoever owns it would know like what remains back there. But I don't know.
And the interesting thing is, like even if it is a mill, right? Accidents happen, and tends to be like, from what I just understand, like if you have some sort of thing going on, anything happens. Sanitariums, places where trauma happens or where accidents happen, and somebody dies, and it's like an accident or something like that. Like I just said, not to repeat myself, but like there is like spirits trapped there.
Yep.
So that could be an explanation. For all we know, there could be something evil there.
Yeah.
Evil things could have taken place there if it was a sanitarium, an asylum, because, back in those days, medical treatment isn't what it is now. So, medical practices could have been a little bit, a little strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And regarding to the time frame of the fire too, there were 2 articles that I had found, but the time frames are so like you really don't know what time it took place because really there were 2 articles. One said in the 1800s, and then the other one said in the 1900s.
Yeah.
So clearly 1800s all the way through the 1900s. That's a big time for you can't estimate when that was.
I think I saw early 1900s.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of saw.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I mean, I wish there was more information. If anybody out there, excuse me again, has any more information on this topic, please, comment, email us. And if you're just trying to educate yourself more on this topic, check out the links down below. I'll leave them down there. And just check out the whole story, because you could find a little bit on YouTube. I kind of researched here and there, and Wikipedia and so on and so forth. It's a kind of an obscure topic, but we try to find what we can. Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Well, regarding to, I think it was the same article that you were talking about the Tent Church Road one. Yeah. From like 2007.
Yeah.
But I read some more about that, there's 2 spirits, but obviously it all kind of roots back to the family, because they said that there's 2 main spirits. One's good, one's bad. And then they said that you could hear like little kids laughing, or like a little girl. I guess somebody had seen the figure of a little girl. Okay. So I guess there may have been a daughter that...
I'll try to find the image. It's online. You could find it. I'll put the image here. It's of a picture of the gate and what kind of looks like a spirit of a man. It's like you could see a man's face. Yeah. By the gate, did you see that?
I saw that one of the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one. There was one below it too. I don't know if it was, because they said it was just, before they had seen this, it was just little kids laughing. Yeah. I guess it was one of those things, they were getting ready to leave, and then they ended up hearing like some like chatting going on, like and a little laughing, giggling and stuff. Yeah. And then I couldn't really make out the shape of it, but supposedly, I guess, because there is a pit underneath of the face. Okay. The picture of the face, there's another picture. I believe it's supposed to be made out as a little girl at the gate. Okay. But I guess, like, as they saw it, this person claims that their friend they were with turned pale in color. Okay. Like, they looked it was like instant. They looked very pale. And then it was one of those things, they get scared and they leave immediately. Yeah. It's like all these stories, like nobody really sticks around. In which, if you're in that situation, I'd feel the same way. If you see a face in the gate, like the picture of the man's face. If I saw that, I would probably dip. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But at the same time, though, it's all just rumors. I mean, it's tough to tell.
Yeah, and like on top of that too, one of the things that was kind of sketchy about the Fair Chance one is on the website, same website. And keep in mind, this is an old website. You know, it's from 2007. It's one of those
Yeah.
old kind of vertical layout websites. You know,
Yeah.
old school type stuff. So I was reading the story and reading up on it, and it said that the people were there. They saw some blue orbs.
Yep.
You know, and they were going to pull out to leave because they heard voices.
Yeah.
And growls.
That was it. Yeah, like chatting.
And they pulled out in their car, and their wheel fell off the car.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then they stopped the car because the wheel fell off. They couldn't find the bolts.
Yeah.
They had to walk through a house and get help. Like, I was a little weird to go out there, even if it's in daylight, like to just see, like, hey, what is this? You know, I don't want the wheels falling off the car.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go home without no wheels.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
If that is true, you know.
See, yeah, that's the thing because those old
Could be a creepypasta.
You see, that's what I was thinking too, because like it's so hard to tell. Literally, that was like the only article we found on that. So I don't know. When there's only one source, I mean, it's barely a source too of evidence.
And then you get people passing it down, saying this, saying it was here, saying it was that.
Yeah.
There's also another interesting location. If anybody has any information about this, I'll put a picture here. It's of one up in the mountains. So up by the Stone House.
Yeah.
Kind of, what, is that north or is that, what direction is that regarding Uniontown, PA?
So you be going away from Uniontown. If any of you guys know where Ohio Pal is, or Chalk Hill,
Okay.
like up that way, you be going towards Chalk Hill or Ohio Pal. So you be going away from where we're at in Uniontown.
Okay.
You be going away from Uniontown. You go up the mountain, past the Summit Inn, and then you go back down over the mountain, and you basically be going out towards Ohio Pal, like I said. So
Yeah. And there's a gate there, and I looked on Google Maps. Like I said, I'll put the picture there. It's just a weird gate. It says do not enter. And then back behind there, it looks like there's a lot of property, but it looks like there's old, like, kind of frames of houses or something like that. Did you look on maps about that?
I tried to. I mean, you got more in depth with it than I did.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't really like. I need to use Google Maps more for the pit.
Yeah.
How you were using it.
Yeah.
As like Google Earth.
It's by
and
a
stuff.
it's by a Sandy Creek, I think it was called.
Yeah. That's what she said.
And it's across
Yeah.
from this like garage electric thing, like business, like maybe it's a HVAC business or something. I'm not really too sure.
Yeah.
Right across the road from something. If I find a satellite picture, I'll put it from up above in regards to where it's at. But yeah, I don't know if that's another similar gate because my relatives from this area tell me, oh, we went to the gates of hell when we were younger. We went out there and drank and had a good time partying.
Yeah.
Same with your parents, right?
Yep.
They said that they went out there, had a good time when they were young, but like nobody can pinpoint exactly where that is.
Yeah.
They just say generally, oh, it's nearby and it's in the area. But like where is it at definitively? Is there something there? Are you just calling it that,
Yeah, exactly. See, that's how my dad was with well, not with either of these gates, but the location you're talking about, like up over the mountain.
Yeah.
He basically told me the same thing. He was like, yeah, I heard like years ago there were people, like he didn't necessarily go there, but there were people that he knew supposedly that had gone up there.
Yeah.
And he had said that there was I'm pretty sure it was a farmhouse type. There was a farmhouse back there that had burned down. And I guess if you go past that gate and you walk down that driveway and stuff, that you begin to feel like you're burning up. Like you get all sweaty and stuff,
Okay.
and you get really heated, and he had said that that there had like he heard some stories about people, like the casual stuff, hearing voices or hearing footsteps and whatnot. So
Yeah.
but I don't know that's the thing about that though. Like you said, a lot of the local people, like relatives and whatnot, that tell us about this, they don't go too in depth with that. It's it's almost like they were aware that there was activity.
Yeah.
But it's if you're going out there and you're drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's way in the back of your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're not even thinking about that.
Have
Like
a good old time.
exactly, because if I knew that there was activity out there.
Yeah.
And if I was going out there just to have a party, I mean, I would have that in the back of my mind of like, hey, this place is like kind of haunted, and
Yeah.
we're like having a party right here. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like I would kind of watch myself, but it sounded like our parents and their friends and everybody back in the the 90s was just having a good time out there.
Yeah.
Like nothing was really going on. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
like I said before, to anybody out there who has more information
Yeah,
or
please.
or like anything, like please comment down below. Help us find out more.
Yeah.
You know, even when you're seeing this podcast, we've already kind of gone over this topic. Just help us find out more about this and future content. You know, help us keep the podcast going, baby.
Oh no, for real. Like when it comes to local stuff, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I'll try to go on like Reddit and stuff.
You could
and-
find a book on Amazon
really?
about Fayette County local legends. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, you could find it. And you could buy it for like I think $9. I might buy it just to see.
Hey, I might do the same thing because there's got to be a ton of other things around here.
Yeah,
we
my
can
uncle
find.
my uncle was telling me about Tank Hill. I don't know. He said somewhere out under power lines. There's like an old abandoned tank or something.
Oh, really?
And then he was saying there's an old house somewhere. See, I don't know the details. I'll try to find out more.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a future episode. Maybe
Oh,
not.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm literally down to do anything with this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, regarding to, but that's the thing about the Seven Gates of Hell is like, you know, like I said, from all the articles I've read, everybody's like, well, yeah, we went out there with high ambition, but you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were like somewhat accessible, like even just to hop over one gate,
Yeah.
I'd be like, dude, let's go.
Or
Let's-
try to
I'd drive
contact-
2 hours to
Yeah.
investigate and stuff, but
Try to contact an owner, somebody who's cool about that. You know.
yeah, for sure.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely all creepy, for sure. It's and especially if there's an evil spirit out there, it's like you don't want to mess around with that. I wouldn't urge anybody, to go out there. I mean, the gate here in Fayette County and Fairchance, I really can't tell you if it is a thing or if it was. I mean, I'm guessing it was, but I'm guessing it's not anymore because we couldn't find it. It's probably private property now. Somebody probably built a nice house, a nice house out there.
Yeah.
But the other ones in York County, I mean, I'd say there's probably more validation to those. So I wouldn't necessarily urge anybody to go out there without a friend or somebody to call. Because, I mean, you, especially with instances of spirits and if it is something that's demonic or bad, you don't want to mess around with that. You don't want to play with that. You don't want something following you home. You don't want to put yourself or your family or your loved ones at risk.
Yeah, and that's the thing about me though too. Like, I mean, for really since I've been alive, I mean, because I know you've somewhat experienced, like a spirit,
Done some dumb
whatnot.
things.
Yeah, but that's the thing with me though, because I haven't experienced this stuff, but I really want to believe it.
Yeah.
Which means that I would, I have a high ambition to experience something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, like you said, it's like as much as I want to experience something, you can't force it and pick up something that you don't want. So
To the people out there, I've told Jared this story a lot. About 8 years ago, me and some friends of mine decided it'd be fun to go with one of those little apps, like on your phone you can get with like a little electrometer, like to pick up the electric signals of the spirit, and walk around and try to ask spirits, hey, hello, whatever, and then go in my parents' storage house. They have a storage house at the time, and like try to find stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, what I guess happened is the basement wall fell in, and after that, my family had a doorbell that was a plug-in. So it was like a doorbell hooked up like to a plug-in thing in the wall, and you'd unplug it, it wouldn't work. Well, it was unplugged for a good amount of time, and it would still go off. And this went on for about 2 years every time around Halloween. I know it sounds ironic, right? But every time around Halloween, it would go off. Somebody would ring the doorbell, go down, there's nobody there. And then my dad knew somebody, because my dad, just background, he washed cars, he had a lot of clients. He had a guy who was an investigator, come in, and he said, well, yeah, you guys probably brought some spirits in the house. Luckily, nothing bad, but I wouldn't mess around with that. So that was kind of a lesson to, like, 12, 13-year-old me. Don't mess
Yeah.
around with things. Even if you're just joking, you might actually stir up something. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's,
for
it's all
sure.
it's all fun until it's not.
Exactly, and I feel like that's kind of like my problem is like, you know, I really want to just like jump into something and to say like just to have that around my belt.
Yeah,
Of,
yeah.
Like, you know, oh yeah, dude, I remember like 10 years ago I got to experience this, but it's kind of but it's one of those things too. Like I mean, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, really, it could happen anywhere. You know?
Yeah. I mean, really, yeah.
I mean, you know, and especially with all the technology and equipment, and even like the basic stuff, you know. I mean, the scariest thing as a kid was like a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Because you could sit really anywhere.
I ain't messing with no Ouija board.
See, and that's the thing. That's the thing with me too. Is like, I mean, when I was younger, you know, when you're a kid, I mean, but you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my friends will hold on to it and they'd pretend like it's moving
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God, man.
So like, you don't really know, but it's like, I feel like though, if you have the proper technique and you know what you're doing with it, we could probably sit here right now with, you know, pitch dark with a couple candles and you know, it's one of those things like you could open a portal anywhere.
Get a good old witch doctor.
So
A witch
Hey,
doctor,
you know-
bub. Get a good old Fayette County witch doctor.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to get on that, but yeah, it's there's definitely a high ambition. I feel like in both of us to go out and adventure and do stuff, but
yeah.
when it comes to that side of it, though, yeah, that's a big consequence.
Yeah.
That's a lot of consequences.
Want to be careful. If there's anybody out there who's a paranormal investigator or like has background in any of that stuff, not joking, not just saying that. Like if
Yeah.
you actually have experience, like just tell us like things you've experienced, you know, what you do, so on and so forth. This is a little bit of a shorter episode. We couldn't find that much information on this topic, like we said previously. Leave some comments down below as to what you'd like to
Absolutely.
hear. Me and good old Jed here. We want to talk about anything spooky, mysterious, creepy, you know, conspiracy theories, like the description of the channel says. And keep on supporting and liking these videos and these podcasts to help us get a further reach with the podcast and help us keep on doing this. So thank you. My name is Jordan, my good friend,
Yep.
Mr. Tolbert.
Is it Jared or Jed now?
Whatever one you want, bub.
All right. Well, my nickname's Jed, so I'll go with Jed.
Good old Jed. Mr.
Yep.
Jed.
You have Jed Tolbert.
All right, well, everybody out there, have a safe night wherever you are. And this is the Groom Leg Podcast. Good night.